What happens when Toyota and Mazda get together? Well, this is the 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. Yes, you heard that correctly. There's a hybrid version now of the CX-50. Mazda went to Toyota, Toyota agreed. So underneath this beautiful hood lives the Toyota hybrid system, THS for short. What does that mean? It has the hybrid system from the RAV4. I'm gonna talk about it, review it. If you're new here, do me a huge favor. Click that subscribe button down below for content like this and many, many more. For all your current subscribers, thank you for watching, for liking, for sharing my videos. I can't do this without you, so please subscribe so I can continue to grow. And before I continue, I wanna give a big thank you to Mazda for allowing me to have this CX-50 in my home test area for me to review for you guys. Stay tuned, that's coming up next. Okay, let's talk 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. This color is called Ingot Blue Metallic, which I might add, it's very, very nice. And it's only available on the CX-50 and the CX-50 Hybrid. It looks great in the sun. Don't mind my shadow, but it looks great in the sun. It has a little bit of sparkle. But let's start the video up front. Well, the CX-50 is a good looking SUV. It's a nice addition to the CX-5 and the Mazda family. Most people think this was going to replace the CX-5, and no, it's not. It's an addition. This is the outdoorsy Mazda. This is the one that you take off the beaten path, and the more rugged version, the rugged Mazda that you want to take if you don't want to take a CX-5, because this is a little wider and a little larger than the CX-5, and ground clearance is it's 0.3 inches higher versus the CX-5. So let's start the video up front. As you guys can see, Mazda is killing it when it comes to the design game. This looks very angry and mean looking at you with those headlights. They're beating on camera, but I can assure you in real life they don't. They do not blink like that. Unfortunately, that's how LED headlights look on camera, but you have the nice bold black grille in this one. The hybrid version, radar sensors in the middle. This has high and low beam LEDs, as you guys can see right there. Have a nice little signature lighting up front. Over here, this is not a real light, this is a dummy light, because this is high and low beam is there. These vents are actually functional, so it channels air through there. Turn signal is actually over here. And the CX-50 is very wide. It has these chunky sides. Actually, let me go on this side where the sun can see it. You guys can see a little better. But you guys can see it has very beefy cladding. My tester is sitting on 19-inch wheels wrapped in Goodyear Eagle Touring tires, 225/55, 19-inch. This one has black mirror caps. Actually, let me turn on the turn signal so you guys can see what that looks like, front and rear. So of course, you kind of have like a little bit of a heartbeat turn signal here. It looks flickering on camera, but it's not. But let me just show you what the front looks like. In other Mazda, traditionally the turn signal is on the headlight above, but the CX-50 has its divorce from the headlight. That's what it looks like when it's turned on. Of course, this has Mazda's active suite, safety suite, lane keep assist, lane departure warning. It doesn't have lane centering technology. It will not keep you in the lane. It will bounce back and forth. And walking around the side, it's a good looking SUV. Mazda, design wise, this is Mazda's Kodo design. So this is of course an evolution of the Kodo design. This being the hybrid version, it has two hybrid badges on each fender. So one over here and one on the other one. But very subtle. If you squint, you can't tell the difference between the regular one and the non-hybrid one. And it's a good looking SUV. Oh, and it has of course another hybrid badge. In the back is traditional CX-50. Like the saying says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Looked excellent back here. As you can see, the turn signal is built in. This is the actual taillight here, taillight brake light. This is a dummy light in the CX-50 Hybrid. All the ones, non-hybrid versions, this does light up. Reverse tail LED, reverse tail light. I mean, excuse me, got tongue-tied. LED reverse lights, excuse me, and parking light and license plate bulbs. Dual exhaust. And since we're back here, let's take a look at the cargo. Of course, the power hatch, you could adjust it, height adjustable. And the CX-50, being that it is a little larger than the CX-5, it's noticeable, especially in the cargo area. You can fold both seats down by pressing this button here. You can press either one, and it has it on each side. And something interesting, not just for a hybrid, but especially for a hybrid, there is an actual spare. As you guys can see, there's a spare tire, and that's where the Bose subwoofer lives, because this vehicle has the upgraded Bose sound system and leather interior and all that stuff, which we'll go over in a second. And there's the button to close it. You can also lock it from the hatch. All right, let's take a look at the engine bay, which is the main attraction in the CX-50 because it's the hybrid version. Then we go in the interior, look at the tech, the features, and then we go for a quick drive of this 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. Stay tuned for that. Okay, let's take a look under the hood of the CX-50. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is a 100% Toyota powertrain, even though it has a Mazda badge. But this comes out of the RAV4 Hybrid. So this is Toyota's hybrid system, which includes two motors up front, one behaving as a transmission, the other one behaving as a generator unit, and one in the back, because this is all-wheel drive, so it has an electric all-wheel drive system. What that means is this doesn't have a drive shaft going from the front to the rear wheels, unlike the competitors, the Hyundai Tucson and the 2025 Honda CR-V Hybrid, which I reviewed. I've reviewed both of those vehicles. One of them is not up yet. The other one is. I'll leave the link in here somewhere so you can see, or just go to my channel, subscribe to my channel so you can see the Honda video independently from this. But nonetheless, very straightforward. This is, if you're going to go hybrid, you might as well just pick the best in the industry, which is Toyota. And it's a very proven system. It's been around for decades. This system is in almost a lot of vehicles, different flavors of Toyotas and Lexus vehicles. And power-wise, this makes 219 horsepower and 163 pounds-feet of torque. The hybrid battery lives underneath the rear passenger seat, so it doesn't impede cargo and everything. So very, very cool system, very good system. And that's pretty much it. All right, let's take a look at the interior, the technology, the luxury features of this CX-50 Hybrid. Stay tuned for that. Okay, let's step inside the 2025 CX-50 Hybrid. And for those of you who are not familiar with Mazdas, this is what the key looks like in every Mazda. Kind of see how the buttons on the side. You have lock, unlock, trunk release, panic, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what it looks like. The mechanical key is inside this little thing here. In case you get a lockout, there's a lock under here. But let's go inside. The vehicle is running because it is a hybrid. And to get in, you just put your hand on the door handle. There is a button right there that you can lock, unlock it. Only on the front two doors. And Mazda is not a stranger to fit and finish in terms of interior refinement. Mazda does a great job of making their vehicles look and feel very premium inside without spending an arm and a leg. And it shows. Like, look at this French stitching on the doors. This vehicle, soft padded materials all over everything you touch. And then beautiful, kind of like black brown seats, so to speak, on this trim. I do like this signature here in the middle. Very nice, very soft. Both are heated and cooled, both seats, and both are powered. And this vehicle does have a Very nice panoramic sunroof, which is Mazda's first panoramic sunroof. And let's step inside. Stepping inside here, as you guys can see, this is a real treat. A real treat of an interior, and very simple, straightforward gauges. Here you have the charge gauge. So as you guys can see on the left hand side, traditionally in the non-hybrid, that would have been an RPM gauge. And that in the middle is a 7-inch screen, which you can control with this button here. Right now I have it on MPG, and I've been getting absolutely excellent, about right there 36 miles per gallon, which is very close to what the EPA says, which is phenomenal. And I'm not surprised, being a hybrid system from Toyota, it's excellent. In that you could of course cycle through and you can give that look, which is pretty cool. That's the radar cruise control look. On the right hand side you have the temperature gauge and gas gauge, and very straightforward, very simple, nothing crazy. You do have also individual drive modes, which we'll go over in a second. But going back to the steering wheel, very nice, very sporty looking steering wheel, 3-spoke design. On the left hand side you have controls for the media, volume up and down, mute, voice command, pick up and hang up button, info controls that, source right here. And on the right you have the controls for your radar guided cruise control, lane centering, distance, not lane centering, excuse me, the lane departure warning, the distance here and there, and that's pretty much it. And center is Mazda's latest infotainment system, which is controlled by this rotary dial here. You can click, you can go side to side, you can click down. As you guys can see, it shows you individual controls. It's a good system. Some people hate it, some people don't like it. I don't see the reason. Maybe I'm a little biased because I'm a Mazda owner myself. I have the prior generation version of this, and it's once you get used to this rotary dial, if you're living with it, it's fine. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly, and I might add, when you are running Android Auto and CarPlay, then it becomes a touchscreen, because right now it's not a touchscreen. But when you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, it becomes a touchscreen. Moving on to the center, you do have a little cubby right here. You do have the cup holders right there. And you have the drive mode selector, which is right here. So right now we're in normal mode. So we can go to power, which opens up, makes the throttle a bit more responsive, and you can see it gets a little angry and red. And you do have normal, and then you have trail. So basically for off-road duty, light trails, stuff like that. And going back to the center console, you do have electronic parking brake, auto brake hold here. You have the controls for the navigation, back button, media, and home button. You got volume up and down here, track forward, backwards, and power for the system. And then you have your favorites buttons right here. And moving down to the middle, you do have a wireless charger right here, which unfortunately my phone does not fit in there with the case. I had to remove the case and then it starts working. So if you have a very large phone or a beefy case, it's not going to fit. Just simple as that. Thankfully, this vehicle has... Oh, and let me just go back to the center console here. The storage is decent size. You do have 2 USB-C ports in there. That's a decent size glove box. Very quiet in there, no problem. And thankfully, Mazda has physical controls for the climate. So no controls buried on the screen. Thank you, Mazda, for not doing that. And this vehicle does have heated and cooled seats on both sides. Oddly enough, it's missing heated steering wheel for some reason, because I know the CX-50 does offer that in the non-hybrid form. So it's a little interesting how Mazda decided to leave it out for the hybrid model. I'm sure they had their reasons. Moving down to, of course, traditional glove box. Nothing crazy to see there. You do have this little nice soft padded material here. You do have a center vent, which kind of looks like a little bit of no man's land, because you got this guy here. You got two for the driver, and you got another one for the passenger. The mirrors are power folding, so you push the button, they do fold in. Very nice. And they do have auto folding, and this vehicle does have a head-up display. Let me see if I can zoom in. And usually hard to pick up on camera, but there it is. You guys can see the little floating 0 in there, which is very nice, and that's where the projector lives for the head-up display. And the sunroof, like I mentioned, it is a panoramic design. Unfortunately, it does not open that much, just this little bit, which hopefully Mazda in the future makes it open a little larger, at least up to here, you know, which sadly it doesn't open. It does have a power shade as well, so one button for both, which is nice. And that is pretty much it. Push start button, of course, is right there. That is pretty much it. Oh, and it does have this system. This vehicle does have the Bose, the upgraded Bose sound system. All three dim mirrors are auto dimming. This one's auto dimming as well. Built-in garage door opener. And of course, all the lights are LED. These are the map lights, which is nice. So, and that's pretty much it. All right, let's take a look at the back seat of this Mazda CX-50 Hybrid, and then we go for a quick drive. Stay tuned for that. Okay, let's step inside the back seat of the CX-50. And same affair, the door opens nice and wide, as you guys can see. So good for entering and exiting for the kiddos, and a car seat. Similar materials as in the front. Unfortunately, Mazda omitted the same fancy stitching from the front doors, which is interesting that they did that, but pockets, nonetheless, pockets of deep pockets right here. And the seats the seats did not skimp. Very nice material. You got this little center stitch, which is very nice. And let's step inside the back seat. I'm about 5'8", and I have decent room. I mean, I could move the seat a little further up. Not too bad back here. You do have two climate vents right here, and you have two USB-C ports, and a pocket behind the passenger seat. There's a view of the Mazda Connect system, and of course the cluster and the dashboard, which looks very classy and very premium-like. Moving on to the center, you do have two cup holders here. These seats are foldable. You can fold them. They're not reclining, from my knowledge. And nope, they are not. Actually, let me see. How do they recline? Nope, they're not reclining. So let me flip the camera a little bit over so you guys can see the headroom situation. This is a little cramped. I'm 5'8". Definitely a little cramped compared to its sibling, the CX-5. Not a lot of headroom here because the roof line on the CX-50 is a little squashed. But anyway, let's take the CX-50 Hybrid for a quick drive and my final thoughts. Stay tuned for that. All right, let's drive the 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I've been getting phenomenal range on this. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, this button here, EV mode, which a lot of Toyotas have this. What that does is it forces the car, the vehicle, to drive in electric as far as long as it possibly can. Right now the engine turns turned on. I don't know if the camera, if the microphone is gonna pick that up, but going around here, my traditional roads where I normally film all my videos, if you are a loyal follower and subscriber, you'll recognize these roads. And And let me just say that something about this vehicle, I don't know if it's a hybrid one or not, but maybe I'm spoiled with my own CX-5. Definitely the suspension is a little bit on the firmer side on the CX-50 compared to the CX-5. And that's probably by design, because this one is the off-road version, light off the trail. If you want more smoother ride, you go for the CX-50. But as a hybrid vehicle, oh, this is excellent. This is absolutely excellent, and you cannot find a better partner to get into the hybrid game than Toyota, because Toyota has been doing it longer than anyone, and they have the best hybrid system on the planet. So Mazda did the right thing. You know, fellow Japanese companies working together. And I know Mazda is working on their own internal hybrid system of their own, which is rumored to come out in the next version of the Mazda CX-5, hopefully sometime this year. If you make sure you subscribe so you guys can see when I get my hands on that and review that. And going into my normal here, and the engine, you're gonna hear it because it is an electronic CVT, but it quiets down once it gets to the right appropriate meat of it. And yeah, let me turn on the cruise control here to see what the system does under regular highway driving. And solid 32 miles per gallon, which is excellent for an SUV like this on the highway. Like I said, I've gotten 36, 38. The lowest I've seen is 28 miles per gallon, but that's if you drive it with a lead foot, which unfortunately I have a lead foot. But if you drive it very conservatively, you can see the EPA numbers as advertised. Right now, look, it just jumped to 34.7. Right now, doing 60 miles per hour. I'm by myself in the car, of course. But I was even getting solid in the 30s, even with my wife and daughter in the car. Driving about a 45-minute drive from the house, which is excellent. You can't ask for anything better. I think the CX-50 is a great addition to the Mazda family. And no, folks, the CX-50 is not going to replace the CX-5. Get over it. It's not happening. Mazda would not do that, because the CX-5 is Mazda's best-selling vehicle, period, hands down. That's the vehicle that's paying the bills. That's the best-selling product. Proof of that is Mazda had the best sell ever in 2024, partly because of the CX-5. And Mazda, I believe, is following the playbook from Toyota, meaning if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In terms of design, the current CX-5 generation has been around since 2017, which is going to get a makeover soon. It's going to get a complete redone. And what Mazda did was they did incremental changes. Tweaked a little bit the headlights here, bigger screen, changed the front and rear bumpers, things of that nature to keep their vehicle relevant. They added wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, and more creature comforts, and that's what you do in a car company. In a car company, you don't have to go nuts and update your vehicle every 2-3 years when it's absolutely not needed. And just as for transparency, the MPG just jumped to 40 miles per gallon, which again is crazy because this is an SUV. It's not light. This is not a Prius. This is very heavy. It's all-wheel drive, and it's getting 40.5 miles per gallon. So around town, you will see the savings. You will see the massive MPG bump. You can not only meet, but you can exceed the MPG boasted on the window sticker. which is 38 miles per gallon, MPG. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for liking, for sharing. And if you haven't done so already, I know a lot of you are watching without subscribing. Please subscribe so I can continue to grow and get you guys more vehicles like this and more from different brands. It helps me a lot. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all on the next one. Take care and stay safe.